Oh, we are recording. What's up? What up? What up, party people?
Where the fuck is the
Drink still in hand, drinking responsibly as always.
We got wings in the meantime.
Got some wings.
And we're back.
And now we're back, you know, having a good time. Switch seats too. A little remix on it. And we're gonna play some of my tracks over here. Should I just introduce it now?
Go ahead.
Okay, so boom, the track we got here today is called When It's Up. This is the mix 3. Now, none of these tracks will be playing any audio. We're just gonna listen to this mix right here.
I ain't scared of you motherfuckers.
Fuck a introduction. I made this song in South Carolina. This song, to give a brief description, the song can be, because I want it to be open to interpretation, this song can be about getting obnoxiously high on something.
Okay.
This song can be about to fight somebody.
Fair.
And this song is a love note to Travis Scott.
Yeah. The flirt. Yeah. The flirt.
That's what I was expecting. But go ahead. Let's do it.
Let's play it.
What's the song called?
When It's Up.
When It's Up.
Left behind my back. Really had to see like Captain James. My temple likes to rock out while I do some math. I'm living this here fire. I love this class. This shit ain't no movie. This ultra life. My night's been colored in neon light. My memory's been dipped into a different side. These new perspectives got me seeing too. I'm seeing her. Hear the ghost of you. You see me. Hear the ghost of me. When it's up, then it's up.
Nice.
That's the song.
Nice.
Fun little joint. Part of me is like, part of me is like, you can chill to it, but also you could really turn up to it.
Yeah.
So
no doubt.
What are your thoughts?
Well, I wanted to ask you, how do you use auto-tune as an instrument?
How do I use autotune?
Yeah,
as an instrument.
It's almost like it's, you know how like guitar players will use distortion.
Yeah,
and it's kind of, or chorus. I feel like you don't use it as like a correction tool. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I kind of use it for the synth sound of it most. And for instance, for this track, I like to sometimes like on the background orchestral singing, like I put autotune on a couple of them just so they can be a little more synthy and kind of almost sound like it's synths being played, but still having that vocal element to it. So I definitely try to use it more in the instrumentation way with my music, but when it comes to other people, I might be like, okay,
that's
correction.
Right. That's right. I feel like you're almost using it to like, I think we talked about this in one of the earlier podcasts where we were talking about like how autotune kind of marries those worlds. Yeah, and I feel like this is a good example of that, where like everything else is electronically produced, and so you want it to like fit into that. So you use a little bit of autotune.
No, that is true.
It makes it sound more perfect, more like a synth. Yeah, less like a human singing. And I think that's a good example of using it that way.
Yeah, for real.
But what do you feel about this track? Like, what's like the emotional like content?
The emotional content, I think it comes from rage, but either be it in the sense of you have rage or, the musical sense of like, oh, we're going out raging tonight. But I feel like just the energy of when, because people be like, oh, when it's up, it's stuck,
Right.
And it's kind of being in that element of being up and not really able to come down. It's almost like everything is an orgasm on top of an orgasm. So it's like, okay, you get the climax in the beginning with the orchestra.
Right.
Beat drops. That's a nut right there.
Right.
And then climax again.
Yeah.
And then nut. And then the final climax. And then you kind of have like 3 nuts in one song. But what I'm really saying is... But what I'm really saying is like kind of just the build up in not having.
I noticed you used the plucking thing as like an ostinato, just like went the entire song. Dun, 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 dun. And I think that was like, that's like kind of how you built that.
Literally, it's the first track, and it's literally, I don't think
basically the entire song.
Or I don't think it's gonna play it, but. Yeah, it's not gonna play it, but for real, it's like I built this first, and it's dun 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 dun, and then one of these right here, this one is kind of the dun 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 dun.
Right, the arpeggio thing.
But I do have a couple of elements in here that aren't quantized, so it's kind of adds that realistic kind of feel to it.
Yeah,
rather
I think
ones.
Blending that like perfectly timed dun 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 with like the synth, like the synthy quality to your auto-tune vocals. I think that connects really well. It creates like this cohesive structure to build off of.
Yeah,
I think it's interesting too, because like I think Charles Nichols said this, one of our composition teachers, during a comp seminar, but he said, Tyler, your music is interesting because your drums are always so like set in stone, always going to hit on, like you put elements that are always like hitting 4 on the floor every single time, and you couple that with like almost like improvised lines. Yeah. And it's just like this atmosphere of like kind of teetering on the edge of disaster. And it kind of fits with that. It kind of fits that rage aesthetic.
I really like how you explained that, because I think having the quantized, it's hitting everything perfectly on time, with juxtaposed to having something that isn't on time, might be a little late, might be a little early, and combining all those elements kind of create a realistic, programmed kind of
it's you're a cyborg. This is like a musical cyborg.
Mm.
And I think that works well because
That's crazy musical style work.
well,
Right.
well, low key, it like we're augmenting the human sound, like what is traditionally considered human. But
Yeah.
I say that, but humans have been doing that since like the birth of instruments. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Music used to be just people singing, and then they added drums. They started beating shit, and then they added like stuff on top of that, and like eventually, you know, we have shit like violins and cellos and stuff like that, and now we have DAWs. And I feel like we're entering like another age of like we're compiling all of those sounds that our forefathers and sisters and brothers and mothers, etc., have made, and combining them with the computer, and it comes out into like this weird but very, very cool thing now. I feel like what we have is super unique because we get to combine all those things. We're not isolated to like one specific region.
Yeah.
We can sample whatever we want.
For real. Honestly, I find this song equivalent to like the artist that splashes paint, just, but more in the sense of like, I'm directly aiming for this spot, this spot, and I know how I'm throwing it is gonna leave this kind of splatter type of thing. So that's kind of how I kind of create, and it's actually funny because
kind of like you're collaging.
Yeah, for real. The drums came last in this track.
Oh shit.
Because at first I recorded it, I came up with the just this part, and I basically rapped over the whole thing. I can try to pull it up.
I just got the juice and I'm bleeding black. Found my destination.
But yeah, dude, I think you know, everything I explained this song, I feel like overall it's just about freedom.
Yeah. I talked to Jen about like what it's like producing compared to composing. Like I consider them like two different art forms.
Totally.
Even though they're very similar in the fact that you're making music directly. I think producing is almost like, I mentioned collaging earlier. It's like you're putting together these timbres and in your DAW, you're bringing different colors in, like either whether or not they're pre-existing, like by a musician playing something, or they're samples, or you take a microphone and you're just finding random shit to put into your music and whatnot. I think it's more like a process of collection and less of a process of like traditional composition, which deals with harmony and like writing out parts and whatnot, and arrangement and stuff like that. I think producing is unique because it has that level of, I don't know, like freedom, I suppose is the word.
Yeah,
I like you can just do whatever the fuck you want. And just,
I really liked what you said because I feel like production is more of any sound that you hear. It's more of like a collage of that, but in collage in words, in a sense. So you're like putting this sentence with this and kind of making your own poem out of that. While composition is really just writing a poem from start to beginning. Because with composition, everything that's on the paper has to be intentional 100%. You know, and the choices, wording, spacing of everything, just like movie scripts, it all means something, and it's poetry. You know what I mean? I feel like
production's more lenient. I think I think part of that is like the culture itself. Like the art of composition has been around for millennia, whereas the art of production is relatively new and has only really started in the
recording
in the modern age.
No, that's true.
And I think because of that, like there's this, I don't know, I can't quite put my finger on it. I think collaging is probably like the easiest metaphor that I have in my head, where it's not like writing a book. It's more like you're taking sentences from like other books, literally, and throwing them into your music. And I don't know, I'm sure there are plenty of producers who like who produce much more like composers, and there are other producers who are much more like sample based and collage-y.
Yeah, because I feel like production is definitely more on the side of being like, losing my track of thought. editing this out. Production has little intention for you to read it, redo it, play it, you know, while composing. And yeah, you can take a track and then notate everything. Right. But I feel like composition is made for it to be read and played on, while production is really just meant to be
It's like capturing
played.
the spur of the moment.
Literally, yeah.
Yeah, I think like there's a lot more of an improvisational feel to modern production. Than, I don't know. It probably stems from like a lot of like producers being from like the jazz and rap or jazz and soul and rap communities.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, that's facts.
That's a really complicated one, and I don't know enough about like the respective cultures to totally find where that came from. But yeah, cool song.
No, thank you.
I see your ode to Travis Scott.
Le Fleur,
You know, Travis Scott and Kanye, I want to just, they do cool shit.
Yeah.
And I fuck with them. I'm not like a super fan of either or of them, and I don't really listen to them as much nowadays. But
they have changed the way like this world works.
They definitely have, and I feel like some of the elements that both of them have, because they have like that synth. Both Kanye and Travis both have like some part of some song in a good amount of their music where it's like a synth solo, and it's just like big orchestra,
huge,
you know,
massive, yeah.
So I kind of go for the huge, massive shit that could possibly be played at Lollapalooza.
Lala, are you listening?
Hey, you know, let me chill out. But yeah, this is song When It's Up, not released. Disclaimer.
I'm hung low. If I pull my shit out, this whole room get dark. Kick it!
When It's Up.
Yeah. Anyways, we'll see you guys next time.
Well, we're gonna film that next.
Yeah, well, I mean, we got two more.
Get up, 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 get up.